With a little more help, she climbed onto the couch and lay down. James could clearly see which leg was bothering her as she had moved it the entire time. He took her hat and placed it on the hook where he kept his bag of holding. He returned and knelt down next to Applejack where he held his hands over her and began whispering a low-level healing spell, bathing her in a comforting white glow. Applejack was a little anxious about everything going on, but she reminded herself that this was better than the alternative. She soon felt the pain ebb away as the spell worked on her, and chastised herself for not coming here sooner, if for no other reason than to have him use his magic. She was just so hung up on the message she didn't even think about his other abilities.
That should handle the swelling and tone muscle. But we still have to loosen the muscles and the nerve is going to have to recover on its own. Now let's get you loosened up so you can walk comfortably,
James commented. Applejack wanted to jump down, thank him and leave now, but she had committed herself to doing this, and her flank still felt uncomfortably stiff. She hesitated but eventually nodded.
And since your leg's been like this for days, this is going to have to be a bit more personal than a normal massage,
James carefully said.
What do you mean by personal?
Applejack asked nervously.
I mean, I'm going to be loosening up your hips and thighs, working on both sides. This may get uncomfortable, but I promise you, I will not go further than I have to.
James calmly explained.
And you can always tell me to stop.
Applejack took a breath as she heard the explanation. If she had just come sooner, she wouldn't be in this position.
I trust you.
She had to. Besides, if he weren't the guy she knew him to be, there's no way her friends would insist so much that she'd do this. Right. She closed her eyes and laid on her side as James asked. This was about as uncomfortable as she was expecting, and closing her eyes didn't help at all. Her other senses were busy telling her about what was going on at the moment. She could hear James get something from one of his cabinets. She heard as its screw top came off and he put the cap on his desk. There was a faint scent of something woody and earthy. It was actually very nice. She heard him put the bottle down and rub his wet hands together moments before she felt him touch her inner thigh and flank at the same time, and began to work at the stiff muscle. He must have spent an hour on her thigh alone, but the good news was that the muscle was finally loose and she was now resting comfortably on her stomach. She did have to admit that once her legs started feeling better, the massage wasn't as uncomfortable for her as she had been expecting. It was still a surprise to her when James started on her full legs.
James, what are you doing?
She cautiously asked, keeping her eyes closed and her head on the pillow James had given her.
Preventative care?
James calmly answered.
You work hard and only go to the spa with rarity occasionally. As it is, you'll still need a few more to finish with your leg.
I can come by your place or you can come back here. Whatever's more comfortable for you.
What?
Applejack asked as she looked up at James. She thought this would be it. Once her leg felt better, she'd not need it again.
Magic healed the underlying problem, but the nerve is still aggravated and your leg is going to lock up occasionally.
Doing this a few times for the next week or two will help keep your leg limber until you don't need the massage anymore.
James explained.
Besides, you did say we don't spend much time together. This seems like as good of a reason as any to do that. Did you want me to stop?
Applejack thought a moment. The massage felt good and whatever he was rubbing on her smelled nice.
Nah.
She said as she put her head back down on the pillow and closed her eyes. She was in over her head just like she had feared, and worse than that was that she was already looking forward to coming back.
Besides,
James mentioned.
It's late for you. Just relax and let me do my work.
I should probably get home and get to bed.
She said, not sure what time it was.
If you try to walk all the way back to Sweet Apple Acres right now, your leg will lock back up on the way. No, you're sleeping right here.
James said as he pressed on her back, causing a loud series of pops. It was getting harder to stay awake as she thought about it.
All right. I guess that wouldn't be so bad.
She yawned as James continued to massage her, and slowly, comfortably, she drifted off to sleep. Rainbow Dash moaned, stopping a moment as she heard her stomach roll again.
It's only a little longer.
She told herself. She had to tell James that Applejack needed help, but her stomach was really trying to make itself a priority. She really shouldn't have skipped dinner last night. Or did she skip it? She couldn't remember if there was anything left in her fridge at all right now.
That's right. I need to get those dishes back here. Alicia's asked me, like, twice now.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash.
James quietly called as Rainbow Dash passed by his den.
Oh, hey, James. I thought you'd be working in your study.
She smiled as she turned to meet him.
Yeah, it's kind of occupied at the moment.
he said as she flew in and sat on his couch.
Okay, well, before breakfast, I have to tell you.
She started to say before her stomach rolled again, even louder than last time.
Shut up!
She growled back. He chuckled at the scene before him.
Sounds like breakfast might have to come first.
Maybe.
Rainbow Dash said, standing back up and getting off the couch.
I mean, Fluttershy and Pinky are helping out, so it's not like she needs to do anything other than rest.
You mean Applejack?
Yeah. Did somebody else come by earlier and tell you about her leg?
She asked, glad that he already knew.
Kind of. Applejack is in my study now, sleeping on the couch. She got here about 6 hours ago.
What? She came by herself and asked for your help? Awesome! I was worried that we'd have to go with Pinky's idea and just get you to massage her in the middle of the night.
Rainbow Dash said as they walked out of the den.
What? Okay, that would be creepy.
James said as they walked through the halls.
I guess it figures that would be Pinky's idea.
Oh! I know! Let's bring Applejack along for breakfast. There's no way I could decide on anything anyway. I'm so hungry that everything sounds good right now. Even Vulcan food.
Rainbow Dash said, almost expecting her stomach to reply.
I guess that means you finished off the last of what Alicia packed for you.
James commented with a smile as they got to the door of the Dokken study.
This reading is thanks to 15.ai and everyone on their thanks page. Thanks to Ouija Green 2 for the Pinkie Pie gifts. Thanks to Rain Shadow for the MLP background music. And Orange Music Studio for the soft rock.
Thanks to everyone responsible for My Little Pony. Friendship is magic.
And of course, thanks to FanFiction and the MLP fan community. And a special thanks to Mornings Dew, Fallout 250, Rainbow Shy, and Olden Bernie for their support.
The story, The Line Between Fire and Light, was written by Stolan Olacone. This was chapter 65 of 69.
Hey! You said there would be cake!
Of course. It's right over here. Please assume the party submission position and wait for a party officer to escort you to your cake.
Party submission position? I've never heard of that, and I love parties all the time!
Yes. It is a special party. All for you. Just be patient.
That's okay. It's not much of a party without my friends. Bye, creepy science robot. Have fun running your tests.
No, really there is cake. You just need to wait.